Most have probably heard the term signposting tossed around a bit in hunting circles. Signposting is really absolutely nothing more than bucks rubbing and scraping. Those, look at both of them essentially as advertisement for the whitetail world. They're essentially the whitetail's billboards, especially the scrapes. Researchers have concluded that a buck very likely, or a deer very likely, can identify the last animal, at least the last animal, to work that scrape, identify its approximate age, whether it's male or female, and even go so far as to ID its general level of dominance or lack of dominance, all from that one scrape. Look at it essentially as a billboard along a highway trying to advertise to as many passerbys as humanly possible. The reason that I always try to look at it that way is because it fits so well. Where are the most heavily used scrapes occurring time after time after time? Very high concentrations of deer where they stick out like turds in a punch bowl. The more that scrape sticks out, especially when it comes to the scrape, the more heavily it's going to be utilized. All right, now let's look at rubs a little bit. Rubs, hey, they build neck muscles. They help work out aggressions. They also leave all sorts of chemical signals behind as well. The chemical signals at the scrapes and chemical signals at the rubs left by mature bucks, researchers have indicated it will go ahead and suppress the immature buck's rutting behaviors, while at the same time going ahead and increasing the speed at which the does enter estrus. Not by a lot. We're talking days to a week as far as the does go. But it's simply the chemical signals left by the glands on the foreheads, by the eyes, all those pituitary glands, all that stuff on the rubs and scrapes. The scrapes, you also have the act of urinating over the tarsal glands. The tarsal gland, as a side note, is those furry tufts right on the inside of the hocks, of the knees of the bucks. All they do actually is secrete a fat, okay, that when the bucks go ahead and pinch their back legs together and pee over it, well, it collects pee. The rank of tarsal glands has nothing to do with the tarsal gland. It has to do with the spoiled urine that it collects. That's why, another just almost unrelated side note, when you're out hunting, use your nose during the rut, because you can often smell these bucks before you can ever see them. And also, after you've shot, it doesn't matter if you're talking a doe or a buck, use your nose, okay? Especially on those bucks. Does, a day or two. More often than not, when you're smelling the does, it's probably too late, unless she's gut shot. If she's gut shot, you can pick up an odor there too. But make sure to use your nose, just like the whitetails do when it comes to this type of stuff. But shifting back to signposting, how can we utilize this to our advantage when it comes to habitat improvements? Well, look at that main crop field, or that large regrowth of clear cut, the meadow, whatever they're used, those oak trees out in the more open savanna, okay? Anything that they have to increase their level of danger, exposure to danger to go feed, is tailor-made for staging areas. And that is, you just back off 50 to 100 yards from that more open area into the thicker cover that they feel safe. Open up a quarter to a half-acre area right there. Go ahead and throw some fall, winter, spring, and lights out oats down in there. Is a great combination, and go heavy. And yeah, the food's going to go ahead and draw them, and that's good. But now let's go ahead and add a whole bunch of licking branches. You add those licking branches, and now you're going to have a bunch of scraping activity there. You can even go so far as to cut some posts and plant those, or make scrape trees that actually make fake scrape trees with posts so they can rub on. So now you get the rubbing aspects and you get the scraping aspects, and you've just went ahead and created a social hub of activity at that staging plot. So not only are you drawing them in for food, even when the food is gone or they have no desire to feed whatsoever, they're stopping there to update their billboards and to check the billboards of others. Okay. Understanding and utilizing signposting can really actually be a difference maker in this type of stuff.
Final thoughts, brought to you by Huntworth.
Signposting is absolutely nothing but bucks scraping and rubbing. Nothing more, nothing less. They deposit chemical signals when they scrape and rub. They also leave visual cues. You know, that shiny spot on that tree where they're rubbing, or that big dirt oval underneath that licking branch that's sticking in their face. The more you can make those spots stick out, the more they tend to utilize it, as long as they're in areas that they feel safe. So, when it comes to those more open primary food sources, if you can back off to a spot that you can safely get in, hunt, and get out, 50 to 100 yards, make yourself a quarter to a half acre opening, add a bunch of licking branches, have some some rubbing poles, and guess what? You can go ahead and take those natural behaviors that they utilize regularly, and you can turn them so they work for you. And that can be a true difference maker in this stuff.